Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Welcome Home Dad. I'm your host, Terrence. We actually have a gentleman on the show, and believe it or not, my guy lives here in the same complex as me. It's crazy. And we'll actually go ahead and get into the show here in a little bit, but you know, my favorite game that we play, random 5 questions. So shout out to you guys out there for tuning in. And if this is your first time, welcome to the show. If your first time joining in, I appreciate you. Go ahead and check out that first episode so you get a rundown of what we do. Lewis, my game here that we play is the random 5. So you don't have to give me a reason as to why you chose it. It's just you pick and choose whatever you decide you want to go with. First question here is iced coffee or your regular hot coffee?
Oh, morning hot coffee.
Morning hot
During
coffee.
the day, iced coffee.
Okay, all right, got you. Especially with this Florida weather, man. You gotta have that.
Brother, yes.
Definitely. Vacation, like a 1-week vacation or just a day trip?
Vacation.
Vacation,
Cruise
yes, sir.
vacation.
Okay,
Yes.
I feel that. My man said the cruise. We like that. We definitely liking the cruise. A Cuban or a Philly cheesesteak?
Philly cheesesteak.
All right.
Yes.
I had to throw that in there. New York people out
Even though
there.
I'm Hispanic.
Yeah, and that too. And he's Hispanic. So yes, sir. What's your favorite meal?
Arroz con gandules and pernil. It's roast pork with rice and pigeon beans. That's
Thank
what it
you.
is. Yeah, there you go. I
And I need to try that.
Yes.
All right. And last but not least, if you could sit down with one person for an hour, who would it be?
Man, that's a good one. I say I love this preacher. His name was Reverend Bunky.
Okay.
And he was very good at reaching souls through the gospel. And I think that's the guy that I would sit down for an hour and just ask him questions, how he was able to reach so many souls in so little time.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, y'all give it up for my man here. He definitely knocked out them top 5 random 5 questions. And like I was telling you guys earlier, this is my first time ever meeting Mr. Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
I actually reached out to him on Facebook. And as you guys can see, you want to pull out this shirt, God Belongs to My City. This will actually be coming up here in September 7th, I believe, this year. So if you're in Ocala, we'll make sure we get to the details and put that information in the description box for you guys. So if you want to reach out, make sure you give this man a shout, talk to him here. But I wanted to reach out to someone who I've never met a day in my life. So everything is new here with me as well. So I do not have a report card sheet on him. I can't tell you anything. So I'm learning about him the same time as you guys.
That's true.
And please forgive me if I butcher your name. It's Mr. Luis de Jesus.
That means De Jesus means yes.
Yes, sir. Now, if you don't mind, just go ahead and tell the people who you are. Give us an introductory. Let us know where you're from, family, brothers, sisters. We're going to go ahead and give the floor to Mr. Luis.
Thank you very much. My name is Luis de Jesus. I was born and raised in Ossining, New York. New York, not the boogie down Bronx or money-making Manhattan, but, you know, I was born in Upper Westchester County and lived there for till the age of at least 35 years old when I moved down here to Ocala. I moved down here to Ocala in 2001, married for 37 years.
Nice.
Yeah, God has blessed that. You know,
Yes,
marriages don't last, but you know, we have hung there through the good and the bad. But 37 years, 31 years saved. God saved me from drug addiction, very unstable home. Parents were drug addicts and everything. And it's crazy the life that I used to live.
Yes, sir.
And God came into my life in 1993, and since then I've been serving the Lord.
Yes, sir. And that's a great testimony. 37 years of marriage. Definitely. I think so far he has the highest marriage count here so far on the show, but I love hearing that because you don't hear those type of numbers anymore. And just to kind of, since I'm already talking about it, when and where did you meet your wife at?
Ooh, I met her at a party when I wasn't a Christian. You know what I mean? When I didn't have the experience, you know, I met her at a party and we started dancing. And then after we started dancing, we hit it off.
Yes, sir. And how did you know at that time that she was the one? Did you chase after her, or how did you know that she was going to be the one for you?
She's just beautiful, bro.
Yes, sir.
She's a beautiful Puerto Rican, and everywhere we go, everybody's like, wow, you're so beautiful. And you know, the Puerto Ricans have that perfect DNA. They say, you know, according to the
Bella.
Once I saw her, I danced with her, we hit it off, and we just followed through, man.
Yes,
At that time, you didn't realize that it was a God-given moment, but that's what it was at the time, you know what I mean? So,
Nice. And she is from New York as well, I'm assuming?
Yes, she's from New York, from Ossining, New York,
okay.
and but she was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So
okay, nice.
She's a 𝐻𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻 Indian, beautiful.
I like this, but man, Louis here. Definitely shout out to that 37 years of marriage. Like I said, that is a great blessing. But I wanted to kind of focus on my main point because, like I said, I reached out to Mr. Louis here on Facebook about this shirt here, God Belongs in Our City. I just want to know where and how did you come up with the idea? Was it something that was led to you through the Spirit, or how did you come about with this?
Well, this was a prayer event that somebody else in New York came about. As a matter of fact, I was pastoring here. I pastored here for 15 years. I was been since 2001, and I left to New York 7 years. And you know, I told you a little bit. I think
yes, sir.
You know, I had some mental health issues and stuff like that. So I just got back like a month and a half, and then I met you. I've been meeting all the pastors that I work with here. But yeah, this was a prayer walk that started in New York City, and it was a bunch of youth that they were on the train, and you know, atheists were plastering on billboards in the trains. 1 million of New Yorkers are okay without God. How about you? And they went and they spoke to their youth pastor, and they started praying, and they're like, how can we kick God out of our city? We need God in our city. We need God in our lives and all that stuff. So that's how this came about. I went to one when I was pastoring here in 2011. I took a bunch of members of my church, 2 vans full to Jacksonville. And when I saw the impact that it had on the community, I said, Ocala needs something like this.
Yes, sir.
And you know, really every city could use God. And,
definitely.
And a prayer walk, everybody prays.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So, you know, you don't have to be a Christian, but I know that when you wake up in the morning, you say, thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. He's the one that turns on the switch in our lives.
You pray over that food.
Pray over food. We pray over everything. So,
yes, sir, definitely. Like I said, I appreciate that, and that was one of the reasons. I don't go to you guys' church, but you guys are from 𝐀𝐋𝐈 Ministries. Shout out to 𝐀𝐋𝐈 Ministries here in Ocala, Florida. But I have been to the singles conferences here. So, but I learned a lot of good things there as well. And it's not a bad thing to be single. It's a time that you can draw closer to God too as well. But that was a really good event that you guys had. Now I know.
Do you know the pastor there? Or no?
No, sir. I actually do not know
Joshua
the pastor.
Sarmiento. So you know, I'm not the pastor, but he's the pastor. I just gotta say that because we look alike. I think I don't know.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I lied. I seen the. I think I saw a video because I follow you guys on Facebook. I seen a video where he was dressed up as Steve Urkel.
Yes, Family Matters.
Yes, sir. Family Matters. Yes, sir. I did see that one. I do chime in a couple times on the episodes when you guys have the lives. I see Mr. Joyner. I know Mr. Joyner. That was my karate instructor. He's actually going to be shooting an episode with us too as well. So shout out to Mr. Joyner if you're watching this video. And definitely now I want to just key in on something that you said. You had to take a mental break. Now being a pastor, I know that is a big blessing and somewhat of a heavy thing sometimes that can weigh in on you guys. When you say you had to take a mental break, now was it just too much when it was going to congregation, leading, and wasn't enough time for family, or how did you come about needing the mental break?
I'm going to be very honest. After the first prayer walk, August 25th, 2012, my wife and I lost a son to a murder in Reading, Pennsylvania the following week on Labor Day weekend. And he was 26 years old, and he was here with us, and, you know, due to the fact that he was doing things that weren't too agreeable with what we believe, you know, I told him he had to leave, which was one of the worst decisions that I made because I put my ministry, I put the calling before my family, and that really affected me a lot. And it was just terrible. It was terrible news. I still hear my wife's screams when we already were resting for the, after the big prayer walk. We had over 4,000 people marching in one accord. And then, we're in Orlando resting, and around 3 o'clock in the morning, she gets that call, they killed Joey. And from there on, man, it was just very hard because I have 4 other children.
Yes, sir.
And it just became very hard. And I tried to fill that void by helping people out, So I was in prison ministry, homeless ministry. I was doing God Belongs to My City. I was a pastor, and being involved in so many things, I was trying to fill that void, and I gained like 360 pounds. I had psoriasis, I had psoriatic arthritis, I had a lot of mental breakdowns. So that was really the tipping point. But when I did go to the mental health counselor, she did a breakthrough of everything from the beginning of my life until that moment. And she says, you know what, this is just something that kept on amounting and amounting because you grew up in a, practically without a father because he was a drug addict and stuff like that. And you grew up in an unstable home.
Gotcha.
And you had all these things amounting. So when you lost your son and you were going through all this stuff, really what it was like a volcano exploding. And we think we're superheroes.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And we're not superheroes, only he is. And we try to do things in our own strength. And that's what I was doing the last years of my pastoring here. I was doing it in my own strength.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So lack of prayer, lack of reading the word. I'm very honest. So
we like like honesty.
And if we want to really have the Lord there, constantly with us and helping us, we need to be in contact with him. You know what I mean? We have to have the relationship the same way we nourish ourselves physically, to eat and stuff like that, to be healthy. We need to nourish ourselves spiritually. We're composed of mind, spirit, and body. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And now that relationship with God is very important.
Oh, yes.
And I know, like you said, you had, because he wasn't living according to what you guys were wanting under one roof. But did you guilt trip yourself into?
That's what drove me to depression. At the beginning when it happened, the other kids were like, Dad,
Gotcha.
And my wife was like, if you didn't make that decision, but God only knows our destiny.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he could have been playing basketball, he could have been working, he could have been driving his car, and if that was his destiny. And it was a big plus, even though it was a sad thing. A couple of years after, we were able to do a God Belongs to My City in Reading, PA. So I see it as a seed, even though we miss him, and he has a young son that is like a clone. You know what I mean? So he left us a beautiful grandson. So yeah.
And that's good. That's good, and I appreciate that, man. Like I said, we love full transparency. We love full honesty. And my condolences to you and your family, because losing anyone, I lost my father back in 2021, and I can only imagine what it's like to lose a child. So I understand, sympathize with some of the stuff that you've said here today. And like I said, I appreciate that honesty. And when you say your dad was not in your household, now for you raising, you said you have 4 other kids as well. That includes your son that passed away? Okay. Now, would you say without him being there in your life, did that kind of affect how you were brought up or how you raised some of your kids, just because you're kind of like, well, I didn't have my dad to kind of see how he did it? Or
yeah, he like I say, he was there, but he really wasn't there.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's one of the things that I talk about parenting. You are a father, you're there to guide your children.
Yes,
and you have to invest time in them. And the time that he invested in us was very little, because he was always hanging out or something like that. And he was very abusive. I came out of an abusive home. He used to abuse my mom. And, so we saw a lot of things when we were younger that, I wish I didn't go through that. But that gives me something to talk about,
Yes, sir.
because a lot of people saw me as a pastor and they're like, oh, this guy grew up in the church and all that stuff. That wasn't like that. I grew up in a drug environment. I grew up in an unstable home. I grew up where there was drugs and all kinds of stuff that weren't good for my environment in the beginning when I was growing up, and the abuse and everything. So, a lot of people need to realize, your father could be there, but if he's really not paying attention, is he a parent? You know what I mean?
Sir.
Is he parenting you? That's the biggest thing. So yeah.
Yes, sir, and definitely same thing. And there's no difference there's no, like, you can be a good parent as well and still not technically be in your child's life. Like, a lot of people just hand their children a phone, a tablet, and here, go, like, I need a break. Like, we all need breaks, and I'm a parent myself. But I try to be involved with my kids, with my daughters, making sure that we're doing things, spending time together, because children do need that. And like you said, even though you had those things in your life and there's things that you didn't want to see, but that also helped nurture you and to create a way for you to have a testimony to give to other people as well. And that's one of the reasons behind the God Belongs in My City. Now, with the God Belongs in My City, how many have you guys already done so far in Ocala, or how many have you done collectively?
Yeah, we started here after the 2011 in Jacksonville. I started the one here in 2012 and did it up to 2016. And I went through a lot of, when you're doing something good, there's always opposition.
Yes, sir.
And, there was a lot of things that happened that, didn't help the mental stress that I had, and that was part of the cause that I was mentally stressed, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to do an event, and you need a lot of volunteers. You need a lot of people that are willing to, not be ashamed of the gospel and be out of the side of the four walls.
Yes, sir.
Not everybody gets on board, but it's a lot of footwork and going to different pastors, different churches, businesses, leaders. It's a lot of work. So it brought a lot of mental stress as well. So.
Definitely. Now, with the march, does that start from the church, or does it start downtown here in Ocala? To let us know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, usually we used to start at Veterans Memorial Park, and we used to walk 2.4 miles to Citizen Circle.
Nice.
But now they have a different rules, so we're going to start at Citizen Circle, and they have a 5K walk, so they gave us that route. Not that we're going to walk 5 miles and then come and worship, you know what I mean?
God in my city and exercise.
That's a good one. Yeah, we got to do that. Yeah, but yeah, we're going to probably do like a 1.82 miles in the perimeter in the downtown historic district. And then we're coming back to worship, and there we have different pastors of different leaders of the community, commissioners, the mayor. Hopefully he'll be on board too. I have a meeting with him soon, and we can get all these leaders together. It takes a village. You know what I mean? The police can't do it by themselves. The government can't do it by themselves. The church can't do it by themselves. We need a community.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
We need each other.
That's right. We need it.
We all need each other. And if you think about things, how the world is going, how there's a lot of separation going on between whether it's male, female, black, white, not to bring race or anything into anything, but if you think about all the separation, if we were to learn to unify and just come together and build each other up, you would actually see the change. And that's why for myself personally, I like reaching out to the youth. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love reaching out to the adults, but I love reaching out to the youth because we need to start there, help create that guideline, that guidance to help them because they're the ones they're the future. So it's like we need them more than ever. Now I know we have your walk and everything along those lines. What are some things that you are wanting to see change here in the community?
That's one of my biggest goals. And, there is a lot of blessings out there for us. And, and especially the minority community, that we don't know about. So I've created a couple of group pages, and I want the churches to really benefit from what the city has to offer them, because a lot of the times we really don't know. It doesn't come to us like that, or it goes down the grapevine, and then we hear about it, and maybe sometimes it's too late. So one of the things, the biggest thing is unity. And there is power in unity, and just letting the pastors know, look, I am not a pastor. I'm not pastoring right now, so I just want to get that out. Because
sharing.
I'm sharing. But the thing is that there's so much competition, and we see it in the world, and we see it in the in the Christian community as well. Sir. And there's a lot of churches, there's a lot of ministries, and they're all doing good stuff. But what would happen? What kind of impact will we give when we get together? And everybody says, wow, my pastor is there, my ministry is there, everybody's working together in one accord. And like I said, everybody prays. So it's very important that people understand this is not about denomination, this is not about this, it's not about my ministry. It's all about Jesus, and it's all about going there and praying and say, God bless our city. We need it.
Yes, sir. And that's something we actually have to get out of, is the whole, it's my religion this, my religion that. And I feel like the people that are out here in the world that haven't given their lives to Christ, they see that division. And they're like, well, if you guys can't get along with each other and you guys are calling yourself Christian, why would we want to be a part of anything like that? So like Mr. Luis was saying, it's about unity, bringing each other together. And for that walk, like I said, it's going to be on September 7th, 2024 this year in Ocala, Florida. And we'll fill you in with more of the details as we kind of wind up with the show. Now, I know you created a page not too long ago, which I thought was a great idea. Obviously, you accepted the request about the events, local Christian events that are going on. And that's a great idea. If you want to fill the people in on that too as well, even if you're not here in Ocala, I know everybody's got to have Facebook. Y'all have social media. It's 2024. So he can explain it and give you guys some more in depth as to what the page is, and it's kind of let him go ahead and fill you in.
I've been wanting to see unity, real unity. So this morning around 4:00 in the morning, I woke up and I created 2 pages, one in Spanish and one in English, and it's Ocala Christian events, and in Spanish, eventos cristianos en Ocala. So and I tell there's a lot of Hispanic churches out there, as a matter of fact, that they have bilingual services. But if you're not announcing it, to somewhere where all the churches are listed, where we want people to come to the Lord. If we want them to come to our church, we want them to be transformed, we have to be out there. You know what I mean? And I think, a lot of the times we talk about, Facebook is, destroying this, destroying that, but it's all about how you use it. You know what I mean? You got to understand that it's a blessing tool. Right now, there's probably a lot of people watching this, and, they're getting blessed by the testimonies, by what you are doing. And that's why as soon as we hit it up, I encourage you. I was like, man, do it, brother. Because we need to understand, we need to do something every day that scares the heck out of us. Because then we know that we're being productive out there. So these pages are very important for churches to sign up and to know all the events. Like you said, Ignite Ministries. Tomorrow, Thursday, or every Thursday, they have a food. They give a food giveaway. And man, you got to see the cars, because there's so many people in need right now. And they have a food ministry. The different churches have different food ministries, and there was one today, but when I got in touch with her, there was even a woman that wrote to me. She's like, I would love to go over there, but I don't have a vehicle. If I had an electric bike, I would go there. You know what? I'll tell you something. I will go over there, pick it up, and drop it off to their house. But by the time I found out, it was all gone. But I told her tomorrow there's going to be, at Ignite Ministries, there's going to be the food giveaway that they do every Thursday. So, and I asked her, I said, you know what? You want to be really blessed, you can be a volunteer. And now she's coming as a volunteer tomorrow. So, now I'm getting her involved in the community. At the same time where she needs, she's also getting blessed.
Yes, sir. And like you said, a lot of people see Facebook, social media as a bad thing, which I mean, I can agree to a certain extent, but you also have to look at the solution, because even in the Bible, it says when you take a look at the bad things going on, you have to make sure that you're at least inquiring the good that's going on as well. So you can't take a situation and always just be judgmental and be like, oh, well, this is going bad in my life. Think about the solution on how you can make it better in your life. And I definitely, like I said, this is good work here. There's not a lot of stuff that I don't even know, because sometimes I'll drive by and I'll see certain things going on at churches, and I was like, oh, well, if I would have known, I would have stopped by. And that's a great, like I said, that's a great idea that you came up with at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody knows I'm up early. I call it crackhead hours. I go to the gym and work out at like 2:30 sometimes before I go to work sometimes.
This gym right here?
No, I go to Planet Fitness for right now. But before I go to work, give or take, sometimes I will get up early. Now, before I wrap things up here, I had another question for you, because I know we've talked about the mental, we've talked about becoming a better parent and being in our kids' lives. But I just wanted to talk about, how is there certain things where you're trying to hear from God? How would you say, how do you know when to listen and hear that voice when he's telling you to do something?
You know, I think it really comes when you're in tune. You know what I mean? When you, like I said before, the word worship and you know, relationship with God. And that comes with you understanding, like I said before, the way we nourish our bodies, we got to nourish our spirit.
Yes, sir.
So there is a responsibility on our behalf, first of all. And then, you know, there's going to come times in our lives where it's hard. You know, there's difficult times that I go through in my marriage. Before we say God belongs in my city, I got to say God belongs in my marriage.
Yes,
God
sir.
belongs in my family. God belongs, you know, in every aspect of our lives. And then we can say and be a blessing to the city when we say God belongs in our city, because not that we have it all together, because we don't. You know what I mean? We're still under construction. And I think we learn something new every single day. If you live up to you're 100 years old, you're going to learn something when you're 100 years old, because you learn something every day.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I just say that God, I'm not going to say it's crazy, because God works in ways that we do not understand. But lately, he woke me up around 3 o'clock in the morning one day, and all I could hear in my spirit was the book of Nehemiah, book of Nehemiah. So I started studying the book of Nehemiah. And Nehemiah was a rebuilder. He saw what his community was going through, and he said, you know what, I gotta do something. So what did he do? He prayed, he seeked God's favor, and he was a cupbearer for the king before. And, you know, he went and approached the king, and he said, King, you know, the king saw his face. He was saddened, and the king said, what's going on? He said, look, I'm sad because I'm seeing what's happening in my community, and I want to change that. And he said, you know, if I find favor before your eyes, let me rebuild the walls. Let me rebuild my people. And that's what I say we have to understand, that, you know, God is going to give you a vision. And one of the things that I'm going to say, a lot of the times God is going to talk to you, and he talks to you in different ways.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you just don't dare, or you think you're going crazy. You know what I mean? I tell everybody, it's not that you're going crazy. When you were created, he knew you from before you were in the womb of your mother. Sir. So, you know, he knows. So, you know, he has created you with a purpose. And I always say, if you have breath right now, it's because God has a purpose with you. If he turns on the light of your switch every day, you know what? Stomp your feet on the ground, devil. You know what I mean? I'm ready to do what I got to do for the Lord. But God speaks to you through many ways. And the Bible is one. Worship. You could be sleeping, a dream, something that, you know, he wants to grab your attention.
Yes,
you know
sir.
what I mean? So,
oh, yeah, definitely. And Mr. Louise here, man, is dropping some bombs over the city here. Like I said, we appreciate him for coming out and blessing us today. because, like I said, I just felt led to reach out to him. Like I said, I don't know him from day one. It was just spirit led for me to reach out to him because I saw what he was doing. I saw what he had going on in the community, and I definitely want to be a part. I am going to be a part. Like I said, September 7th. What time will it actually be starting?
Registration, you can, we're creating a website.
Okay.
So we're creating a website to put everything together so it's more accessible to the churches, the people to register online, because it's a lot of footwork. They can buy their t-shirts and all that stuff. And there's going to be other products in the near future, ideas that God has given me, like don't go with the flow, go with God. You know what I mean? You know, I'm telling you that that's another topic, brother. Yeah, that's another topic. And that's a slogan that came from Aurelius, the Emperor Aurelius. I forget his last name, but the Emperor, and he said that. And you know, a lot of people just go with the flow. You know what I mean? No, go with God. You know what I mean? Because he created you with a purpose, and he's gonna guide you where you gotta go. Sometimes you go and you're following the streams, you know what I mean? That stream can change on you. You know what I mean? So,
definitely.
And they change all the time. You know what I mean? So,
yes, sir.
But like I said, you know, I'm fixing the website. God has just been putting people left and right. Like I met you, man. This is God, bro.
Oh, definitely.
This is God, and now we're neighbors. Like,
that's great. We really are neighbors.
Yes.
So for right now, they can reach you. Is it email or is it on Facebook? You have an email and the page for Facebook that they can reach out to you at. If you want to go ahead and share that with the people as well.
Yes, we have a God Belongs in My City prayer walk event on Facebook. Everything that we did before, we did it on Facebook, but we're creating a new. We're just getting our website, getting it better, so it's more accessible for you. You have the God in Ocala prayer walkers. Join that group, because every day I post something different. And you know, like I was talking right now, that's the topic that I was talking about. Don't go with the flow, go with God. You know what I mean? These are little things that come up in my mind all the time, and I'll be creating those shirts like, yes, I'm a Christian, hashtag yes, I'm a Christian, and it has hashtag is a big cross right here. So, you know, those little things that God gives you, so people feel that, you know what, there's no reason for you to hide, you know, and just be in your church. And, you know, there's things that you can do in the community that could be a blessing. So the Facebook and God Belongs My City Prayer Walk 2024, you got the God in Ocala prayer walkers. Now you got the, you know, to share your church, to share your events. I want to stop by. I would love to, you know, just go in there and do maybe a video interview with him and be like, hey, we got this going on this weekend. We need you to know. So yeah, man. So.
Yes, sir.
But yeah.
Do you have an email address as well that you can share with the people?
God Belongs in My City at gmail.com. Luis De Jesus 1227 at gmail.com. And my number, I give it to everybody. You know what I mean? 352-613-4033. I have nothing to hide. You call me at any time, brother.
Yes, sir. You can call him. Don't call me. I'm not giving you my number. But if you guys already know how to reach me, like I said, this is Mr. Luis. I'm Terrence. If you guys would like to be a part of the show, or if you want to be a guest here and have your letter read or anything, just reach out to me at welcomehomedad1989 @gmail. That's welcomehomedad1989 @gmail. You know, the channel to subscribe is going to be welcome_home_dad. That's welcome home dad. Once again, I'm Terrence. This is Mr. Luis. We just asked also, I forgot before we dip up out of here, make sure that you shared this video. Please share. Like we said, September 7th this year coming up. We would love to have you come out to Ocala. Even if you guys aren't here in Ocala, I'm pretty sure they will have somebody doing a live, so that way you guys can tune in. Once again, we appreciate you guys for spending some time here with us today. I'm Terrence. This is Mr. Luis, and we're out.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bless.
𝐷